Today I want to talk about love. This type of love is maybe a love that we're struggling with right now. I know it's something that I've struggled with in regard to dealing with my spouse and my kid and people around me, the people online. It's agape love. And agape love it's a love that we should have for everyone. But love as a whole is a word that I think when we hear that word, we sometimes come up with different definitions. You ask an older gentleman what love is, it might sound a little bit different than a young lady that's in college. Or if you were to ask me what love means to me, it might sound different than, how my son might say what love is. Actually, it's a good idea. I'm going to go get it. So we're talking about love. The camera's right there. What is love?
You can hug you.
You can hug people. Yeah. What else is love?
Kiss.
Kisses. Yeah.
And playing.
Playing. Yeah.
And play basketball.
Basketball. Playing basketball is love. What else? What else is love to you?
Oh, yeah. Playing together.
Playing together. If I were to say, when I say love, who do you think of? Who do you think of when I say love?
Mommy.
Mommy.
And if the flowers grow up.
Flowers remind you of love?
Uh-huh. And helping people.
And helping people.
And helping with the fish tanks.
Yeah, when you help me with my fish tanks, yeah, that shows love.
That's it.
So as you can see, the definition of love kind of changes depending on who you are, your time of life, what you've experienced, how you've dealt with things. I mean, my view of love has changed over the last 5 years. Because 5 years ago, I got married. And then just a little over a year after that, I had my son Lincoln. Every time something changes in your life, your view of those overarching definitions change, like love. And so when we think of love, we come up with a lot of different things. But the word love itself can mean a lot of different things. And in the Greek, in the original language that the New Testament was written, love came with a lot of different definitions, and those definitions came with different words. So you have agape, you have phileo, you have eros, you have there's 6 to 7 different words for love. And today I want to focus on agape love, because that's the love that we should have as Christian brothers and sisters for each other and for those around us. And so that's what I want to look at. So when we look at the word love, we might have different views. But when we think of the word agape love, it should kind of focus in on one thing. It's actually really interesting. I don't want to be the cliche, the definition for love is blah, 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 blah. But I just wanted to kind of look it up. And so I Googled definition of agape love. And it was really interesting that Oxford Dictionary actually, the first thing that popped up was the definition for agape love was Christian love. And I don't know about you, but that puts a lot of pressure on us wanting to show love to people. Because if the culture is that agape love is a love that a Christian shows to people, it really needs to be accurate. And so what is that term for love? Well, if you look at the Greek word agapeo, or agapon, or there's different forms of that love word. I can throw it up on the screen somewhere, I guess. You have, love. It's just that caring affection you have towards someone. And it can change depending on who it is, because you have phileo, which is brotherly love, and then you have the family love, and then you have the sexual love between, married couples and things like that. And so But surrounding that and the foundation of that should be that agape love. And so that agape love is the idea of goodwill, is the idea of wanting to do for somebody, do good things for them, not expecting return. So you're doing things because you love them, not because you want to get paid or want that extra bit of allowance or that cookie or that good job at recognition, that type of stuff. You do it because you care. It helps. This type of love is this idea of wanting to build somebody up, to give them esteem, to show them honor and respect, even if maybe they don't always live the life that should deserve that honor and respect. And so I want to look at a couple verses, a couple scriptures, and I'm not going to go through everything because, boy, you do a word study on love and it just across the board in the Bible, love is one of the most used words, especially in the New Testament, man. And it is powerful. Well, these words for love is we're going to focus on the agape idea of love. And so, of course, if you're thinking of love and you're thinking of God and you're thinking of what God has shown in his love, a lot of us think of, well, John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever will believe in him will not perish but have eternal life. And then if you read a little bit more, it says, for God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but to save the world through him. God didn't send Jesus down just to say, you're doing wrong, you're doing wrong, you're doing wrong, but to say, I love you and I want to show you the proper way of doing things. And so the foundation of that love was agape love. The foundation of love was, I want to show you the truth, but show it in love. And I say that all the time, speak the truth in love. It's in the Bible. It's speak the truth in love, show it with honor and respect, because if I'm living my life and someone corrects me, I want them to do it in love. So why would I not want to give love in how I teach and share truth as well? And how often do we not see that? How often do we see bitterness and pridefulness and, oh, well, I'm just going to share this information because I know I'm better than you and I'm smarter and I'm going to belittle you because of it. You're not sharing that truth and love. You're sharing it out of wanting to win an argument, or at least feel like you won an argument. And if you want to feel like you win an argument, no one wins the argument. So how do we share truth in love? So that's the first thing I've always thought of, is John 3:16, of course. Then we have the Sermon on the Mount. It's in the beginning chapters of Matthew, 5, 6, and 7, kind of focus on those ideas of the Sermon on the Mount. And one aspect in chapter 5, specifically towards the end of that chapter, we see Jesus talking about love. And he says this section here, if you love those who love you, what reward will you get? Are not even the tax collectors doing that? Whew, that's pretty tough, because if you think of, oh, how do I love people? Or who do I love? Well, my son. Because he is he's 3, almost 4, his idea of love is very limited. And so his idea of love is, I love my mommy. I love my friends. I love flowers. I love playing basketball. I love helping others. I love helping my dad. And that is love. That is true agape love. That is pure love. But it's a simple kind of love. And it's good, and we need to have that love. But if we get beyond the age of 8, 10, 11, 12, we need to start to mature that view of love. And Jesus is saying, you aren't doing anything beyond what you did as a kid. You love those who love you, of course. Of course you love those who love you. My son loves me because I love him. And so he goes out of his way to do things for me because he loves me. And he knows that because I show that love for him. And that's easy. And that's not wrong. It's just easy. But Jesus says even people who are sinners, he said tax collectors, but in that definition, he's talking about just, you look at, because in their view, tax collectors were like the the bottom of the barrel. He's like, you look at the worst people out there, and of course they're going to love people that love them. Duh. That's easy. That's simple. Go beyond that. Because right before that, he throws a hard ball, a fastball, a curveball, whatever you want to call it. And he says in verse 43 through 44, you have heard that it was said, love your neighbor and hate your enemy. That was a common term, common ideas, eye for an eye, tooth for tooth, that type of stuff. We see that in the Sermon on the Mount. And he says, you've heard, love your neighbor and hate your enemy. And that actually seems pretty easy to do. Well, I love those who love me. Well, that's pretty easy. And I don't love the people who don't love me. Well, that seems easy too. But Jesus says, nah, nope, we're not going to do that. But I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. Yes, love your neighbor. Yes, love your family. Yes, love your friends. Easy, easy, easy. Love your enemies. Love those who mock you. Love those who argue with you every day. Love those who try to always say something to get on your nerves. Love those who show no love to you. Why? Why do we do that? Well, Jesus said it. Love as I have loved you. John 15. As he was trying to prepare his disciples before he went to his death, he was trying to help them understand what this love was. And he says, love as I have loved you. And then John, one of the men who was standing there as Jesus said, love as I have first loved you, later in his life compiled these letters in 1st, 2nd, and 3rd John. And he said, 1 John 4:19, we love because he first loved us. Love as I have loved you. Love because he first loved us. Why do we love? Because Jesus loved. Because he decided, even though he created this entire world and we screwed it up and we departed from him, we left him in the dust, he said, I still love you and I want to come to show what that love truly is. And so if you need help loving, look at my example of how to love. Now you might be thinking, well, isn't that just reactionary? Isn't it just reactionary to say, oh, I love because someone else has loved me? Isn't that kind of what he was arguing against in Matthew 5 when he said, oh, well, you love because someone else loves you? Well, that's the base. And he's not saying that loving someone because they love you is necessarily wrong. It's going beyond that. And Jesus is saying, start your love by loving because I loved you. But don't stop there. Continue to love. Show that benevolence, show that kindness, show that caring attitude whenever you're sharing the truth. Even though the truth may hurt, you still share it out of love. You still share it out of respect. You still share it because you want everyone to come to the knowledge of Jesus. Because if we look at John 3:16, it says that Jesus came to save the world, not condemn the world. But then it actually says, I forgot the section at the end. It's a section we don't even think about a lot. It says, whoever believes in him is not condemned. But whoever does not believe stands condemned already because he has not believed in the name of God's one and only Son. We are to love because he first loved us. And then we continue to love because we want people to come to Jesus so that they can have that belief in Jesus, so that they don't stand condemned on Judgment Day. And when someone stands condemned, it's because they made that choice. And we want to make sure we can give them every opportunity to make the right choice. So how do we agape love? How do we unendingly love people? Well, look at Jesus. Look at his life. Yes, he got frustrated. Yes, he got angry. Yes, he said some strong words, but he said it out of love. So how can we live our lives of love? How do we agape love our spouses? How do we agape love our children? How do we agape love our neighbors, especially in this time? How do we agape love the people on Facebook or on Twitter or on Instagram or on whatever social media platform you want to say that really get on your nerves? How do we agape love them? And if you're the one that is causing those problems, that is spreading those frustrations or those fears or those anger, resentful comments, how can you stop and instead agape love the people around you? We need, even more so in this trying time, this frustrating, difficult, stressful time, we need to show God's love. So let us do that. You don't even need to pray for opportunities. There are opportunities abound on how to show agape love. So do it. Step up. You have that foundation of love because Jesus has shown that love. Build on top of that foundation so that you can bring others, so they can start to build that foundation of Jesus as their Lord and Savior. Let's share Jesus. And as always, show his love. That's it?
Yeah, but where's me? I am in your computer.
No, you're in my phone. Right there. So, okay.
I'm gonna see.
No. You say bye-bye to everyone, and then I'll show you the video later, okay?
Bye-bye.
I love you.
I love you.
Say, have a good day.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.